We ain't found Sith.
Warning, the following podcast contains speculation, which may be confused with spoilers, although it may also contain spoilers. You have been warned.
Hello. Welcome to We Ain't Found Sith, issue 93. We're back. We've taken a little bit of a sabbatical to just kind of, do some private stuff, get some stuff done on our own. But we are back as we start our road to issue 100. I made a comment last week asking you guys for topics, things you guys wanted us to talk about. That is still there. Please feel free to let us know. I am your host. My name is Eben. Forgive me. It's been a while since I've done this. And I am joined, as always, by my co-host, the Gray Box.
The Gray Box. It's me.
Oh, mysterious voice from beyond the realm.
It's the Gray Box.
Yes. It is the Gray Box, also known as Pedro. Pedro, man, what have you been up to this last? We got to see each other in real life in the
Oh
same
yeah,
room and stuff.
that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
we did, man. That was awesome. Just hanging out, just watching some TV and hanging out with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old.
fucking crazy kids.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was so good to see you in person.
It's so crazy because I literally don't feel like we haven't seen each other because of the podcast. Because, You know what I mean? Like it feels like I don't have that separation. You know what I mean? So when I saw it, I was just like, oh, it's just another Tuesday. But it's not.
It's not. We were live and in the flesh.
Yeah.
So, man, while we've been away, things have just been trickling out little by little. Movie theaters are opening up, so the movie studios are like, "Hey, we're releasing stuff in theaters again." HBO still though doing the whole simultaneous releases thing though. I guess that must be working out for them.
I think that business model isn't going to change. I think a lot of people like this. Yeah. I don't think it's going to change now. I think for now on they're going to have to release them simultaneously. You have to send, the online stuff and the theater.
Yeah. Obviously, there's been a steady smattering of news and rumors that have been released over the last month or so. I don't want to go over everything. I really don't want to go over things that are just rumors.
Shout out to Zach. He was in town. When was it?
Oh.
Saturday, Sunday? I don't remember. We hung out. We had empanaders.
You had empanadas?
Yeah.
Where was my invite?
Well, we were all the way in my neck of the woods, and it was a last-minute thing.
Oh.
It was cute. We were just on a little cute date, bro. It's adorable.
Oh, there you go. Where'd you guys go? Like one of them trendy new places that have been opening up in Kendall, no, like Finca or something like that?
I don't know the name of it.
Oh.
Yeah, we kissed pretty hard. I don't know the name of it. It's some Argentinian place. They had some fire ass empanaders. Yeah.
See, I know what I know because I know what I.
Oh, shout out right there.
Oh, there you go.
I'll
have to look it up later.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So I know what I know, which is my entire life. Cuban style empanadas. Oh, there you go. By IHOP on Kendall and 137.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally right next to the what's that grocery store?
Kendall on 137. That's there's a Publix there, no?
No, what is it called? Milo's? What's that new franchise? Supermarkets. I think it's
Aldi?
like German. Aldi, that one. Yeah. It's right next to the Aldi.
Yeah. And there you go. Aldi's fire. I love Aldi. all those German imported chocolates and stuff like that, and the German sausages and fucking all these fire. So yeah, so I know Cuban empanadas. That's what I grew up on, and I've had from time to time, like when I'd be at work and someone would bring in like Venezuelan or Colombian, different they've got, it's like a different pastry.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
yeah.
For if we have any listeners that are not South Floridians, an empanada is like a hand pie. Except they're usually savory instead of sweet. So instead of like because I know like one of my favorite things ever was like I went to Georgia and they had hand pies that were like fruit filled. Okay, so these were corn based.
No. The one we had was flour.
Oh, because I've seen the corn based empanadas too that they're like yellow on the outside. Which I don't know which country that is. But the empanada dough,
I think that's Colombian. I think that's Colombian or Venezuelan. I think they use the corn one.
Because like I know, like the Cuban empanada dough it's flour based, but it's like it's made to be fried. Like Cuban empanada dough, you stick it in the oven, like it gets like all puffy and just weird. The Cuban empanada dough is made to be fried.
Yeah,
Colombian, he says.
Yeah, I've had all of them, and I have to say the Argentinian ones are the best. They're so good, especially if you get it from like a good, legit Argentinian bakery. And I'm Brazilian, and I'll still say Argentina makes better.
And was this a good, legit place?
Yeah, I mean I've been there before to get cake. It's a bakery, but
it's a bakery.
But I've never gotten any empanadas.
Okay,
but this time I did, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys kill it. Yeah,
I'll have to put that on my list of places to check out.
Yeah, in your neck of the woods, there's a bunch too. That Doral area, it's crazy over there.
I mean, the Doral area, throw a rock and you're gonna hit a Venezuelan bakery.
Facts.
Been there for like 25 years. I don't live in that neck of the woods. If the bakery is further than a half a mile from me, why would I go when I've got 3 of them within a 1 mile radius? It's not.
Well, you have 3 Cuban ones next to you. You have like Vicky's and what is it?
Well, it used to be Vicky's. They changed to a different name now.
Oh, really?
Actually, no. It used to be Carla Bakery. That changed to a different name now. There's a little bakery like down towards like 105 that for my entire life was a Cuban bakery, and then when the Nicaraguans started moving into the Sweetwater area, it kind of converted into a Nicaraguan bakery. Well, what used to be John's parents' place, because John's parents' place is in Orlando now. By the soccer field. So if it's by the soccer field, that's 127, not 137.
Yeah, 130. Yeah, it's 127.
Okay. Is it in the same shop? Isn't that the same shopping center where Cool Stuff Inc. or something like that is? The board game store?
I don't know.
I think there was like whatever. We've gone on this tangent now for a while.
Empanadas, brother, delicious.
Empanadas, bro. It's fucking. But I would totally. God, we have friends from like all over Central and South America. Yeah. We should just do like, hey guys, talk to your moms and let's just bring like empanadas from like every representation. Like, next to Baptist Medical Center. But we should just do that one day. We just be like, everybody bring empanadas like from their home region, and we're just gonna have like an empanada fest.
Majority I don't like because majority of them are fried. I'm not a big fan of the fries or fried food.
The trick with fried food is that oil's got to be at the right temperature. If the oil's too hot, the outside burns before the inside cooks. If the oil is too cold, the oil just seeps into the food.
Yeah. I just don't like fried food. It makes me feel like shit.
Land of a million empanadas. We should be. And we dress as Panda. I'm not sure what the connection is with pandas and empanadas, but I like it.
I think it's a wordplay. M pandas.
M Panda. Oh man.
But yeah, man, that's what. Yeah, Zach was in town. I've been watching Harley Quinn. I finished it last night.
Yeah, I gotta get on that. I started watching that like 6 months ago, and I stopped.
Yeah, it's a if I've been like praising it on the group. If you're a fan of Venture Brothers, that shit is. It feels like it's written by the same people. And I looked everywhere. I did a lot of research to like find a connection. I saw no connection. It's just they just happen. Like maybe they're like, how do you say, uh, inspired by Venture Brothers.
Okay.
It's very similar. The comedy is very similar. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, that show is pretty good. What else? I guess that's all I've been doing. Just watching Harley Quinn.
Empanada Panda from Dandy Bear. Was there a character named Empanada Panda and Dandy Bear? Is that what it is?
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I never went to Dandy Bear. Dandy Bear is after my time. I am more of a Rock of Fire Explosion kind of guy. That or like the Steamboat one that they used to be on like 8th Street or
Holy shit! I remember that one.
I think it was Riverboat or something like that.
Yeah, Riverboat something. Yeah.
Yeah. Then as an adult, I've only been to Chuck E. Cheese because all the kids in my life were born in the Chuck E. Cheese era. So, Dandy Bear is it's not something that was in my wheelhouse. I have been just kind of watching. I've gone down like a Critical Role rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like I've just been binging campaign 2 of Critical Role, which just ended. Like the second campaign just ended. And that just monopolizes my time because those are like 3 to 4 hours per episode.
Critical Role is the D&D stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean that's a lot of hours of content that I've been pouring through.
Our
and then on top of that,
usually,
my regular stuff that I watch.
Yeah, our campaigns usually last fucking it could be 3 to like 7 hours. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the episodes are like 3 to 4 hours each, and the show's been on. This campaign's been going on for like 3 years, and the last episode, the final episode, was over 7 hours long. Which,
Jesus,
as a content producer, if you and I pre-taped something that was 7 hours long, I would have chopped that bitch down into like 2 episodes and gotten 2 weeks of content out of it. Especially for like pre-recorded, pre-taped stuff.
Yeah.
I would have been just like, and that's where we're gonna end tonight's episode. We'll be back next week, and then just continued on with what we already recorded. Especially because people were up till 5 a.m. on the East Coast watching that shit.
Oh, that's a stream?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they stream it on Twitch and YouTube on Thursday nights, and then it's available on their Twitch channel, and then on Tuesday they upload it into YouTube so that you can watch it on YouTube. So it's, Zach has been going on a tirade over here about the empanada panda from Dandy Bear. It is, but I've been deep into that. I've been watching. I don't know if you ever got into it or not. I've been watching Dark Side of the Ring, which is like they go back and they look at like some of like the worst stories in the history of professional wrestling and try to like, they basically do like an hour-long documentary on it, on like what was like the true story behind the story and all of that. Biography on A&E every Sunday night has been doing like a different episode on a classic WWE superstar, and those have been fired. Those are going on. They're doing a show with WWE called WWE's Greatest Treasures, which is like they get like the wrestler and like a guy from the performance center. They go out on the road. They're trying to like find like collectibles. So it's like pro wrestling meets Antiques Roadshow. It's been weird, man, and it's much better than like the brand new wrestling programming that's on TV. I binged the second half of Lucifer season 5 that just came out recently.
Nice. I haven't seen a single episode of that.
They announced season 6 is going to be the final season, so you can either watch all 5 seasons now, and when season 6 comes out, you'll be caught up, or you can just wait till season 6 comes out and then you just watch the whole thing. There's been a lot of stuff, and then on top of that, there's a lot of news coming out, stuff that's coming. We're finally getting, I think, Stranger Things season 4 like a year later.
Well, to be honest, 2020 didn't really exist, right? That never actually happened.
Well, the time passed by.
Right. Well, I mean, it never happened. So
it's gonna be so weird when at the beginning of the season, Dustin is 5 foot tall with that gap in his mouth, and by the end of the season, he's like 6'3" with a beard. It's just. It's all the bro. That's the problem with doing shows with kids is like you gotta be like on top of that shit because they're gonna turn into grown ass adults while you're filming.
Yeah. Well, I think the ending for season 3, I think it left it pretty open that it could could take place in the future.
That was one of the big things in season 3 was that Mike became all of a sudden like a giant tall guy. He was like the size of Hopper, and it's like I don't care how tall you are, kid. You're still dating my daughter,
Yeah.
And it's just it's awkward. Like season 5, unless they do a time jump or introduce new characters, season 5 is going to be like, yeah, these kids are in college.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like that's what they designed it to be. I think they designed it so that they could, get back to it at any point. Mostly because they were already hitting, the kids were already hitting puberty, so they're gonna morph from one day to the next. So I'm pretty sure they wanted to keep that up because they were supposed to be a lot younger in this show than what they were in real life. And then, in a year or two, they were going to be just completely different people.
I'm trying to save certain things for later because I know you've got opinions on them. Loki came out today, as promised in our title. I know you said you didn't watch it. You're not interested in watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't care. I don't like that character.
Okay.
I don't like anything about it.
I can definitely say I saw episode 1 today. I'm in, just to see where it goes. I'm not invested yet, but I'm in. I'll check it out. It seemed I liked what I saw.
All right.
And the episode did just come out today, so I will hold off on spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything. I do like in episode 1 we do get the reference to Loki having been DB Cooper. We find out it was a bet that he lost with Thor. So he had to come to Earth and do something stupid like that.
Oh.
Because that is I thought maybe that was going to be something that happened during the show, as the plot goes forward. It's a flashback.
Got it.
Owen Wilson is he's basically like a detective, and he's like, "You got skills. We could use your skills. We won't erase you from the timeline if you come help us out. It's that kind of show."
Oh, they're doing the Catch Me If You Can thing.
Kind of, sort of like the way Catch Me If You Can ended.
Yeah. You're really good at something. We need you to do it. The criminal becomes
and there's a little bit of a plot twist at the end of it, which I won't give away because, like I said, it just came out today, and
I mean, I don't care if you want to ruin it, but
I'll tell you off the stream.
all right.
But I don't want to ruin it for anybody who's actually like watching or listening that
or wants to watch it.
That wants to watch it, exactly. All I know is I found it enjoyable. I'm in. You know, maybe another episode or two, I might be invested. We're finally getting Black Widow July 9th in theaters.
Be honest, do you care?
At this point, not really.
Yeah, exactly. They took too long.
They took too long to release this. I know, obviously, we had the pandemic. But it is one of those things where it's like we're not getting anything new. It's a prequel to Avengers Endgame, so we already know, Black Widow's fate. So really, it's like, yeah, no matter what happens in this movie, I know she makes it to this point or whatever. Unless they're gonna throw like a plot twist in there and change things up.
She was a Skrull the whole time, bro.
There's we got a teaser trailer for Eternals, which
I
didn't get anything from the teaser trailer.
Well, I think that was the idea. That looks fucking boring as hell. I've never read the Eternals. I have no idea what they're about, but it looks so boring.
I know they're the race of beings that like Thanos was born into.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna check it out because it's a Marvel movie and I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
But I'm going in there with expectations low, not really expecting anything. On the other side of the comic book, just all this talk about a Flash movie that they announced 5 years ago and still hasn't happened.
Will it ever happen?
I don't know. That's the thing, right? The movie's been in development hell.
I saw Jupiter's Legacy or whatever,
which
that
got
show was.
canceled.
Yes, and I see exactly why, because it was trash. It was so bad. I completely understand why.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, bear with me a moment, the dog walked in the room and opened the door.
Yeah, the show was weak. Like, I don't know. Did you see it?
I have not, because I was about to watch it.
And then it got canceled.
And I was like, oh, well, I have no more reason to
That's a dog.
It's Diego the intern. He just walked in here to say what's up.
Yeah, so you're not invested at all because
I'm not invested at all because
they canceled
I know it's based off of the work of Mark Miller.
It is.
And I know that even though Jupiter's Legacy is canceled, they are moving ahead with Super Thieves or something like that, I think is the...
Yeah, well, I don't know what the title is, but it's that idea. It's going to be Super Villains, I guess.
So, which is another thing that's based on... Because the Netflix bought the rights to Miller World.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
They should just go ahead and do Nemesis. You ever read that?
Is that the one with the guy that's all dressed in white?
Correct. Yeah.
I believe I did, yeah.
He's like an anti-hero or something, or he's like the villain. I don't remember the story at all. I just remember it was super dirty and bloody. It was awesome.
I read so many books back in the day that
yeah, it's crazy how I've read in comic books. I've read so many different comics that a lot of them blend together. I don't remember. There's a handful that stand out super hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Everything else kind of fuses with each other.
But it's I get and especially when it comes to anti-heroes, I get a lot of those confused. There was another one that I remember that was I think it was called Irredeemable or something like that. which was about like a Superman like figure that is he turns bad. Who also is another character that's like all dressed in white. But this one's I think Mark Waid.
I don't know that one.
There were actually two books in that series that I read, because there was, so Irredeemable is this like Superman like god like superhero, and one day he just snaps and just starts taking out all the villains and all that, and then that spawned another comic called Incorruptible, where like that guy, one of that guy's like arch villains, basically becomes a good guy. And that guy's like he's like a prisoner that they experimented on, and like the longer he's awake, like the stronger and more invulnerable he becomes. But if he goes to sleep, he resets to like normal human or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where like as he's awake longer, he's stronger and more like powerful, but he's also like sleep deprived, and like his brain's kind of hazy and stuff like that. It's an interesting and totally interesting concept as far as a superpower, which is great for a villain because you just exploit that weakness. But if you're a hero, it's a lot harder to root for the guy. I think I want to say Nemesis, he kind of looked like Phantom X.
Let me look it up.
Full white bodysuit with like goggles.
Oh no! I just opened it up. He looks like Batman, but he's like just all in white.
Okay. We got a teaser picture of
Moon Knight.
Our favorite Guatemalan. Oscar Isaacs.
Oh yeah, Moon Knight.
We got a teaser picture of him with some Moon Knight comics.
Yeah, Moon Knight. I want it to be great, but I think I said this on the last podcast. I've read a couple Moon Knight stuff, and I don't think Moon Knight is that great. Like the comics are that great, but the idea for his character is fucking awesome. If they go full crazy person,
it's one of those characters where like there are good storylines, but overall the comic's an average comic.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even say average. I think it's below average. It's like it was like I've read like the Golden Age stuff, like when they first made him, and he didn't even have like a real villain. Like his villain was whack. And then I read the newer stuff, and the newer stuff like they throw out some crazy ideas.
When
and
they
like
brought him back in the 2000s.
Yeah, where he was like white, Mr. White. Remember, he had like a suit. Yeah. And then he had Mark Spector.
I think that's even later. I think that's like his third run or something.
Well, that's what I've read, and that's the one I did like because they go full crazy with that one. Mm-hmm. And then I read one where he goes to like the West Coast Avengers, and I forget, it's fuzzy, but it's something like he goes to the West Coast Avengers and he's like doing like a case over there. And throughout the entire comic, he's like interacting with Wolverine, Captain America, and Spider-Man. And at the end, you find out all three of them was him. Like he's just crazy. That's the kind of shit that I think is cool about that character. But like, you have to have, I don't know, you have to have something for him to work. But speaking of cool characters, Black Panther 2 is going to have what's his name? Namor? No. The Marvel.
Namor the Submariner?
Yeah. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
The main bad guy.
Oh. That's an odd choice as a bad guy for a
but what is
Black
he?
Panther film.
What is he? He's
an Atlantean.
Well, besides that, he's a mutant. That might, you know what I'm saying? We might get something actually good from Marvel now. If we get X-Men, that's where the money's at.
See, I wouldn't have minded maybe doing Fantastic Four first, and then introducing Namor.
The best thing about Fantastic Four is Doctor Doom. Like, X-Men has a whole laundry list of cool characters. I would prefer X-Men. But yeah, so that kind of hypes me up a little bit because now that there's like a lot of talks about bringing X-Men into the fold, and you're gonna have, I want to call him Neymar, but I know his name is not Neymar. But they're gonna bring him in, and he's a legit mutant, and they've already been saying that they're working on X-Men or working on like a storyline for X-Men, and there's no way they're not gonna introduce a mutant with him.
I mean, look, it's an inevitability. Inevitability. It's all they of course they're gonna get to the X-Men. They're not gonna leave that.
I just don't want them to get there when I'm like 60. You know what I mean? Because that's how they kind of work. It took 10 years for us to get to Thanos.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get like a good Fantastic Four film, man. Like it's something that like I'm really hoping they don't mess it up. I'm one of the few people who actually liked the movie from 2000 and something. I don't remember, it was like 2003, 2004.
The one with Jordan, whatever his name is, as Johnny.
No, the one with Captain America as Johnny. With Chris Evans. And,
okay, yeah. The one with the Silver Surfer. That one was a good one.
The Silver Surfer was the sequel.
Right, I like that one.
Yeah. Not Fant Four Stick.
Oh yeah, that I didn't even see that one.
Yeah,
but I heard it's pretty bad.
They supposedly are going to be introducing Spider-Woman into the sequel for Spider-Verse.
I'm already signed up, bro. Anything Spider-Verse, I'm in. I don't care what they do. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I'm in.
We got a teaser for Shazam 2. No release date yet, though.
Yeah, I saw his suit.
Yeah. What do you call it? Friggin', when was the Batman supposed to come out?
I don't know. 2022, I'm assuming.
I thought it was supposed to come out last year.
The Batman?
Yeah, the Batman.
No.
The one with
Twilight? No, Twilight. Yeah. Twilight's Batman is coming. It was either supposed to come out this year or next year. It was announced in 2020. How would it come out last year?
I remember we got like the trailer like last year, didn't we?
Yeah. We got like a very short trailer, right? I don't remember, man. Last year was a blur. It didn't really exist.
Okay. I don't know, man. I just, it looks like we're going to start getting a little bit of a stream of things kind of coming back little by little. So, that's good. And I'm trying to think, like, what do we want to talk about as far as like news? Oh, did you see they're finally filming Indiana Jones 5? I don't know how I feel about this.
I know how I feel about it. Just stop. Just fucking stop. Come up with a new idea. They're doing an Uncharted. Uncharted is literally that.
Okay, but let me ask you this: given the chance, you'd rather see an Indiana Jones 5 or an Indiana Jones reboot?
None. Just stop. It already exists. It's like Star Wars. I think after 6, I was hopeful for 7, and you already know how I feel about the sequels. But I was hopeful for 7 after I saw it wasn't good. I'm like, yo, just stop. Just don't do it anymore. Just make shows and TV shows, because the TV shows are killing it. Just do a whole bunch of TV shows within that realm, but you don't need any more, Luke saga, Star Wars movies, because all of them
Skywalker saga.
Yeah, Skywalker saga. Just stop. Just leave it alone. You know what I mean? Same thing with Indiana Jones. I think the last one wasn't necessary. They did it, whatever, but the last one, we didn't need it.
Not that it wasn't necessary. It's just that you shoehorned things into it that people were like, wait, what?
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. We got the whole story. It's all good. You don't need anything else.
Yeah. Supposedly, Cruella did really well on the home box office thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
What's your opinion on this? Like, let's give every villain their own movie thing.
I think Disney isn't what they used to be. That's what I think about when I see all this shit. Because I mean, why a Cruella prequel? Like, do you really? Anybody who was watching the 101 Dalmatians, was anybody really like, I wonder what Cruella's deal is? No, she's just a bad guy. That's it. You just take it and go with it. That's it.
Well, for me, it becomes more of a thing of like, listen, I understand. Like, there are occasions where the villain's story is a much more interesting story than the hero. For example, a villain like Magneto. A villain like Magneto makes sense that like Magneto would get his own film, his own like story to kind of drive his story forward of like, growing up and going from, being in a concentration camp and his family being wiped out to like, starting to fight his war against mankind. And like, that makes sense, right? That's an interesting story arc. The lady who wanted to like skin 100 puppies and make a fur coat out of them, I don't give 3 fucks. She bad.
Yeah,
some people are just fucking bad.
That's legit what I was saying.
And no amount of explaining like where she comes from is gonna make me go, oh well, I forgive her. No, she wanted to skin 100 puppies. Like, fuck.
It's the same thing with Maleficent and all these other. They're probably gonna make a Jafar movie. Like, I don't fucking. This is why I say Disney isn't what it used to be. Disney used to pump out hit after hit nonstop, new creative ideas, a whole bunch of brand new shit. And now all I see them doing is just like we'll get like 1 or 2 really good animated films. Which one was the last? Oh, I saw Raya.
Okay.
And the dragon, whatever that shit was called.
Yeah.
It was okay. There was a bunch of like technologically speaking, there was a bunch of like really cool shit with the smoke and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But storytelling, it was okay. It wasn't anything phenomenal. It wasn't a Moana, you know what I mean? It wasn't a Tangled. But
did it remind you at all of Captain Planet?
Not really. It was like I was saying this to my sister. She asked me what I thought of it, and I told her that it was trying to do something that Disney doesn't do. It was trying to be a hyper violent type of movie with a plot, you know what I mean? Where it's war and there's people are fighting for this item and there's factions. It's a very aggressive storyline, you know what I mean? Compared to what like these Disney usually does. And what we got was you have all those things in play, but when it comes down to actually fighting, you don't feel anything because no one's going to kill anybody. It's not going to be overly violent. It's just going to be like a freeze tag type of game. I got it now. Come catch me. You know what I mean? It's that kind of situation where there was like cool scenes where you like that scene where the last part of it where she's walking in to go get revenge on the shaved head chick who killed the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
That shot was really cool for just like walking through the thing and like repelling the fucking smoke with the crystal thing. That shit looked cool. But then when she got in the room with the main villain, I did not give a shit because I knew nothing was going to happen. You know what I mean? But this is where they fucked me up. That ending sequence where like they all turn into stone.
Mm-hmm.
I thought for a second, I was like, holy shit, Disney did they flipped it on me. I thought it was just going to stay like that and all of humanity was just going to be frozen because we're just greedy as people. Like humans are greedy. So I thought that was supposed to be like a message. Like we're all greedy. This is like just natural selection at its best. You know what I mean? Right. And then the power of love or whatever the fuck Disney does and they all come back.
That was my whole thing. It was like it was like, oh, the heart is the most important thing, and it's like,
that's why the Captain Planet reference. Got it. Yeah. In that sense, yeah. But like that's like I thought for a minute there, I was like, oh shit, Disney doing some crazy shit. No, it's the same.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be on brand if they did what I'm saying.
The dragon powers combined, we make this rock that
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was fun though. I'm not gonna trash on it. It was a fun movie to watch, but it wasn't a Moana. It wasn't a Tangled.
It's not gonna be a classic like
Yeah,
they would have.
it's gonna be a Brave. Does anybody remember Brave? Nah. That's pretty much what I see it. It's just gonna be that. But it was pretty. It was really pretty.
It has like a small section in the park, and you'll be able to go see it, and then on to the other stuff that has made lasting impressions.
Yep, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but at least we got Moana, bro. You can't, take what you can. And now they're making this new one in Italy. The fish dudes.
Luca or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I am man, I'm hoping. I know Netflix is doing this like whole like media event this week. I'm hoping to get like a trailer for the new Masters of the Universe series.
Oh yeah. I saw that they were doing. That's where they announced that Sandman stuff behind the scene.
Which we'll close out the show on that. There's been a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
A lot of it I think is stupid.
What's the controversy? I'm not even following.
A lot of fanboys upset over casting.
Who in particular? Is it what I was saying with Lucifer?
No, I know like some people took issue with the whole fact that like on all of the casting they put the pronouns. Someone took issue with like Desire being casted as like an androgynous person that's like bisexual or like pansexual or whatever.
Why?
Like,
that's literally her deal.
That's literally right.
Yeah.
That's literally Desire is a
Bro,
she's Desire.
If you listen to the podcast and I fucking love that book. That is like my favorite thing ever. Sandman is my favorite fucking thing ever. And for somebody to be saying, "Oh, no, Desire's not like," that is literally Desire. She's not man. She's not woman. She's the embodiment of desire. It doesn't matter what sex you are. You know what I mean?
And then it just like I browsed it a little bit because I didn't want to go too deep into that rabbit hole. But I saw a lot of people claiming to be fans of the book, complaining about the casting, followed by people then responding with like, "This is literally how the book proves you wrong, and you obviously never read the book."
Yeah, if it's based off of what you just said with the Desire shit, yeah, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, and just little things here and there that they've been talking about. I started reading the series. I haven't finished reading the series.
I need to reread it because when I read it, I was like what, fucking 18 when I read it for the first time. So like maybe my opinion of it changes now, but I remember when I was reading the shit, it changed my fucking whole perspective of life. Like it just changed everything that I thought. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just the ideas behind all these characters and like, I don't know. I don't know, but I fucking loved it. And them making a show of it makes me like really scared because it's like my very favorite thing. And I don't want them to like change the medium. I told you all this before, but I'm saying it on the potty.
But you're scared from a perspective of this was a life-changing book for you. And you're scared that they're going to dumb it down and not do it justice.
I know they're going to. That's why I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, that is a legit. That is a legit concern that I will grant anyone who's a fan of the written material. But I will also say that just because they make a show doesn't change the written material.
No, exactly. That's why. Like I was telling you before, I won't watch it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. I probably will eventually watch it the same way I eventually saw Watchmen, and Watchmen is another one of those books that you can't replace it. I'll probably eventually watch it, but
Have you watched the Watchmen series?
No, I haven't. I'm waiting on that.
The Watchmen series is very much a sequel to the Watchmen book.
Yeah, I know.
More so than it is to the Watchmen movie.
Yeah. We spoke about it. There's the squid creatures in it, but
also fucking bravo to the Watchmen series and everyone involved in that for like unearthing history that like people knew existed, but like the masses majority of people didn't know was like that shit actually happened.
Yeah.
We just celebrate. Well, we celebrated. We just remembered the 100-year anniversary of that Tulsa massacre this year, and if it wasn't for that show, that would have never entered into the public consciousness.
Well, that's a testament from the book as well. There's like a bunch of I don't remember what case this was, but there was a story.
The case files part of the
No,
book.
this was like a real thing that happened. There was a woman who was murdered right outside of her apartment. This was all over this was like in the newspapers. In the I think it was the 60s or some shit. Or in the 80s. I don't remember what year it was. But this was in the book. It was referenced in the book. So there was a woman who like died right in front of her apartment. And don't quote me on this because I don't remember the details. But some woman got murdered in front of her apartment in broad daylight. A bunch of people saw it, but they didn't say anything. And the killer got away because no one spoke up about it, and it was all over the news. Apparently, in the comic books, Rorschach, whatever his name is, his suit is made. Rorschach, yeah. Rorschach's suit was made from the material made for his mask, not his suit. His mask was made from the dress of, and this was said in the book. They just referenced the woman's name. So if you knew the history and you're like the case of this lady, it's just a small little, here's a little nod. You know what I mean? And it was like this woman never claimed the dress, so then Rorschach stole it and made a dress out of a mask out of it because it was continuously moving. It was just supposed to be like a moving dress where like these
it was like a fabric that like the little black spots were.
But apparently it was supposed to be for her, and that night she was supposed to be going to a ball, but she was murdered and she never picked up the dress. So then Rorschach started. See, that was just like things that the book already did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's awesome that they brought it back with the show.
Yeah, again, man, like and like I said, I went into that show very skeptical because I was like, anytime Hollywood has touched Watchmen,
bad,
like but they actually were like no, and we're a sequel to the book. Like that whole thing in the movie with like Dr. Manhattan going crazy. No, that didn't happen.
Well, I can't shit on only Hollywood because when DC tried to revisit before Watchmen, that series was garbage. And they tried doing Doomsday Clock with the whole DC universe interacting with Watchmen. That was bad. You know what I mean? So like you can't just shit on Hollywood. It's just when you have a masterful piece of like it's a literal masterpiece. You don't touch it. Just leave it alone.
It's like if somebody tried to do a sequel to Moby Dick.
Yeah, you don't do it. Just leave it alone. Let people read it. You know what I mean? The same way I feel about Sandman. I feel like that is a masterpiece, and like so much of it is like there's multiple points in the story where like I directly get attached to just ideas and philosophies that they would bring up. Like there was a whole segment where Death is trying to explain to Dream. She's explaining to him because he's like a very broody character. He's very down. And he's like a super Debbie Downer. And Death is the complete opposite. And he's asking her, or he asks her, how can you manage to be this like gleeful with everybody in the planet like just absolutely detesting you? And she just says it's part of life, and what life is beautiful. Like she is literally a part of life. You have to die one day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I it's just such a, I don't know, man. That book just hits on like a different frequency for me. You know what I mean? There's that. There's the whole the replacement of hell when Lucifer was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out. And he just literally just leaves. And then Sandman has to go over there and figure out who's going to take over.
And then he gets his own series. And
then he gets his own series and he's not played and is not going to be played in the Sandman series for some fucking reason. Yeah. But all that kind of shit, it just hits. There's a beautiful line where Lucifer leaves. Lucifer goes off to do his own fucking thing. It's spoiler because I know you haven't gotten here yet, but you're gonna see this shit. there's a bunch of little stories where you see like Lucifer talking about God, and he's always talking bad about him. He's just like, he casted me down to take care of these flunkies. Like, he's just upset. He's bitter as fuck. And then when he decides to leave, he gets rid of his wings and he just lives among the humans. And there's a scene where he's sitting down in front of the sun, at a beach, and he's having this inner monologue talking about like how fucked up he is. And then he takes a second to like just absorb what he's seeing. He's just like, fuck. And then like, you see people walking, they're in love, they're having a relationship. That moment for them is super impactful, and he's just watching all this shit happen in front of him. He's like, fuck. I guess you have a point. And you just see a sunset. And it's like the worst. It's like the devil is finally going, you know what? I think he had a plan.
Well, I mean, you haven't watched it, but the whole Lucifer series, the whole is basically Lucifer's a guy who's like has daddy issues.
Oh, is it? I haven't seen the show. The comic is kind of like that, yeah. He's always like bothered. He's
always like, because my father this and my father that and all of that, and he's like I'm, and then like really this last season and like even the season where like his mother shows up, the goddess of creation, and puts it into perspective, like he didn't know what to do with you, so he gave you your own kingdom, and he hoped that you would be happy there, like that you could do what you wanted there, almost making it seem like
it wasn't hateful.
That and like the whole reason that like hell exists to torture the people who are in hell is almost because like that was Lucifer's own like thing that he wanted to do.
Yeah, that's literally what the comic says also.
Yeah.
Like he designed it to be that way. And then that's a great segment, or not even segment, it's a whole book. It's a great book in the Sandman series where Sandman goes down to, he's like looking for prospects to conquer, to take over hell. And he comes to the conclusion that like the best one was Lucifer, because all the other gods of hell, for like all different races and religions and all this fucking shit, like he brings Thor in, and Thor is just like, yes, I'll conquer this, and he's just talking about war and battle, and he's like, no, that's not, and then he brings Anubis. Anubis goes in there, and Anubis is like, he's morbid as fuck. Anything from Greek, from Egyptian mythology is just super morbid. And he's just like, yeah, no, that's not. So like he gets all these different kinds of like characters, and I forget who he ends up just picking. I don't remember, but he picks somebody who's just more. I remember it was like a woman, and I think it was just like more like a motherly type situation.
Yeah, it's and like I said, man, the show. I was having a discussion with here in the house, and it's like, the show is very particular in that it pulls a lot of its mythology from Paradise Lost, without actually referencing any like Judeo-Christian beliefs. So like it obviously when you're dealing with Lucifer and the other angels and all of that, like it could be very easy to like slip into like getting like too like Christian with it and stuff like that. And it does this thing, like we're now 5 seasons in, and the only mention that I've ever heard of the name Jesus occurred in like an episode where like it's like, yeah, I went down to Colombia to get the beans. I bought them off a farmer who was ironically named Jesus.
Oh,
and that's the only mention ever, because if you get into like the Christian mythology, it's like, oh well, but Jesus is the Son of God.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, because the way this show plays it, the angels are like the children of God, and then humanity is like this other thing that he created.
Yeah. I don't remember if that's how they did it in the comics too. I don't remember exactly. But they do the way they balance that kind of shit off, because they kind of like touch on all types of religion. More like he treats it more like mythology. The religious.
Well, you just said it yourself that in looking for someone to take over hell, he goes to the Norse gods and the Egyptian gods.
Yep.
He probably even goes and grabs Hades himself. You know.
No, Hades is because okay. So Morpheus. Okay, so Sandman Dream. He is an almighty. He's above all these other gods because he takes.
He's an entity.
He's an entity, correct. So every religion has their own dream. Dream is the English version of dream. The Greek, his name is Morpheus. The Egyptians have, I think it's Sonus or some shit like that. They all have their own. You know what I'm saying? And he is the same. They just call him by a different name. You get what I'm saying? So Hades exists in his realm, and his son, who was, he's Morpheus. His son is the god of music. Or sleep or something like that. His head gets cut off. I forget the name of the Hades cuts his head off, and he can't die, so he's just like a head. I think it's like the god of music or some shit. It's so fucking deep. I love it. I fucking love that book. And like they go that section of the book.
And those are the things that you're afraid of with the show that they're not going to
There's
get.
little things. There's very little things, minute details that they'll be like, oh, we could cut this for time, but you can't, because if you cut it, I'm going to be upset. You know what I'm saying? Like very minuscule things that I can't lose because there's a part in the book where he's at a pub and he talks to so he makes a friend. I forget the friend's name, but in exchange he's like, look, I need to take you in. My sister needs to take you, and because you did this, and whatever, you have to. Death is waiting for you. And he's just like, look, I'll be your messenger if you just grant me immortality. And Sandman's like, no, you don't know what you're asking for. You don't want this. Like being immortal isn't good. It's a burden. And he's just like, no,
it's the age old thing, right? It's like whoever gets like immortality is basically doomed to like watch everyone they care about die.
Yep. And so he makes the deal with them. He's like, all right, I'll grant you. I'll tell my sister never to come for you. So he lives forever. This guy is just ageless. He's like immortal. So the first time he meets him, he's like prehistoric. You know what I mean? He's super old. And then in time passing, the whole dynamic between him and this is him within like a couple of issues. Every couple of issues, he has like a meeting with an old friend, quote unquote, meeting with the old friend, and it's always the same guy. And he's trying to do, Sandman, is trying to get him to redact his wish. He's just trying to be like, so, how's life? Do you want to give up? And the guy's always like, no, I have more to live for. And that's just the constant thing about him. He's like, no, I want to live for. He's like, oh, how's been your life? He's like, well, I watched my third wife die. All my kids have perished. The villages, I have to live this village to another one because they're starting to become suspicious. After 50 years, I haven't aged a day. Like it's all like little details that like I'm like, fuck, this is so brilliant. And then keeps going all the way to modern time, where I'm not going to say because I know you're going to read it, but there's some conflict with Morpheus, and he's like down. And the person who comes to see him is this guy, his legit only friend, and they just have like this little walk on the. Oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. I fucking love this book; it's so good. So yeah, he makes a friend trying to torture him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that whole thing about Dream. He's just a tortured soul. He just wants people to fucking be miserable. He's just a fucking brood. You know what I mean? And this one guy is just like, no, man, you gave me what I wanted, so you're my bud. You're my best friend. You know what I mean? It's so good, man. And little things like this character might not even be in it because he's such like a small part of it. It's just like a reminder. Just this is what this character is. You know what I mean? It's like Sandman is this character, and this is the evolution of this character. You know what I mean? But that's why I won't watch it because I know we're not going to get every single little thing, and I need every little single thing in it for me to be happy. But on the contrary, they changed a lot of Invincible, and I fucking loved it. I watched the whole series again the past couple of weeks, and I cry every time at the end, bro. Every fucking time.
that's my high hopes for Sandman, is the fact that Neil Gaiman is involved in the show. Like, if this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, we bought the rights to Sandman and we're working on Sandman and we're doing this with Sandman, and Neil Gaiman was nowhere to be found, then I'd be like,
yeah, I would be more worried too.
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't hold Invincible to the same caliber as Sandman. Sandman for me is like legendary. Like you literally can't touch it. You know what I mean? There's nothing you could do to make it better, but there's a lot of things you could do to make it worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm worried for it. I'm probably gonna end up watching it eventually, but it's not going to be on my priorities. You know what I mean? I got the books. I have to actually reread the books, to be honest, because a lot of the stuff I don't remember clear. You know what I mean? I just remember the overall story of what that whole saga is supposed to be, and each book, like the reason for what happens in each book, and I just don't remember all the details. I like the Keeper of Hell. I don't remember who it was, but I remember it was like a motherly. It was supposed to like try to change what hell is, or the image of what hell is, you know. And obviously the endless characters, the delirium, dream, despair, destruction, destiny, and who's the last one?
Despair.
It's dream, despair, desire.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know all of those guys, but I don't remember exactly. Oh, there's also a section where he meets another little tiny thing that probably won't ever show up in the movie or in the show. He meets this guy at a bar in one of his travels with his sister, and this guy is just sitting at the bar. He's like stressed out writing. He can't figure it out, and like he just, like, Sandman just walks up to him. He's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And he starts telling him. He's like, "I have all these ideas. I just can't get out on paper." And Sandman helps him write a play, and his name is like John Shakespeare. It's a play on words, but it's supposed to be William Shakespeare. And Sandman just tells him, "You should change your name to William Shakespeare." And then when he presents it for the first time, he says, "This play came to me from a dream, and it's Midsummer Night's Dream." And like, it's essentially Dream wrote it with him. You know what I mean? It's fucking brilliant. And it also plays on the other fact that he says it came to me as a dream. So maybe he was sleeping, and that was part of his dream, but they never explain it. So right. William Shakespeare was probably sleeping, having a dream, and then dream invaded his mind in his dream. You know what I mean? It's so, it's fucking beautiful. It's mythology 101. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, it's like, and like I said, and anybody that comes to it from like a perspective of, oh my God, man, it's just all these little things that I love about the book that I'm just scared that they're going to be left out. As someone who's forever seeing things that he likes reading getting turned into movies and TV shows, I'm 100% with you. Those are legitimate concerns. Hell, I mean, fucking, we saw what they did to Ready Player One.
Yeah, they ruined that shit.
You know,
the book still exists. You could always read it.
Yeah, the book still exists, and I will, you know, at some point go back and read it again for the 4th or 5th time. You know.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. Like the
problem is that it also affected the sequel book.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
Because the first one was a great fucking book. The second one starts off very much in the, well, shit, we gave all our characters a happy ending at the end of the first book. How do we go about undoing that happy ending and then and you know, causing them to have to like go on a new quest? And it's like, man, I know the movie made money. So obviously there's going to be some pressure from the studio. Hey, can you write another book so that we can do a sequel movie? But they really should have gone like, well, the movie made money, but a lot of people shit on it. Maybe we shouldn't make a sequel, because maybe we spend a ton of money making a sequel. People might not actually come out and watch the sequel.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things where it's like, man, like, I read his other book that he did. I was into that. I thought that was interesting. It's like it's kind of
Andromeda
like
or something
a
like that.
version of the Last Starfighter.
Armada or something like that.
Yeah,
That one. Yeah, I
yeah.
have it on my wish list on Amazon. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet.
It is essentially the Last Starfighter.
I don't know what that is. Is
You've
it
never
good
seen
though?
the Last Starfighter?
No, not by name. Maybe I have, and I don't remember the name of the movie.
80s movie. Kid who's like really good at this video game, and then one day
Oh,
he
didn't they
gets like a high
reference that?
score. This guy shows up, and
Yeah,
it's like,
they've referenced that in Ready Player
yeah,
One. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I'd never read it or never seen it, but
yeah.
I know the reference.
So that's essentially what this is.
Wasn't that the part in the book where he had to like fucking regurgitate every line perfectly?
I don't know if the Last Starfighter was one of those tests.
I think it was.
I know it was Princess Bride and Monty Python, and I think War Games.
Well, was it? It might have been War Games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one of them was about a video
There's
game.
a reference to Last Starfighter because every '80s kid remembers the Last Starfighter. Except obviously you don't, but you're more of a '90s kid. So
yeah, I'm a '90s kid. I didn't watch that stuff.
I'm barely an '80s kid. I'm a tail end of the '80s kid. But I had a little black box growing up in the house, so
yeah,
I remember this shit. But the Last Starfighter is like the guy's like really good at this like video game, and then like he gets this like high score, and like this guy shows up in a limousine. He's like, "Hey man, you're like really good at this, so we want to take you to like this thing. We're gonna change your life. It's gonna you're gonna make some money and all of that." But he's actually like he tricks him and like whisks him away to like another planet where the video arcade machine was like it's like a simulator for like an actual like starship. And since he's so good at it, like he could pilot one for real because they're fighting off this like invading alien species or whatever. So it's like it's a freaking like it's a classic '80s movie, and Armada is very much like an homage to that story, in that it's a similar plot device except instead of going to an alien planet, it all takes place around Earth.
I have to watch it. I know that there's like a bunch of references and like a bunch.
The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's if you want a fun '80s movie to watch, it's totally a good watch. Armada is a decent read. It's not as good as Ready Player One, but I liked it more than Ready Player Two.
Yeah, a couple of my friends have been reading it, and they told me I have to get in on it because there's a huge Prince section in it.
There's an entire planet devoted to Prince.
Yeah. So everyone's
getting, and he has to like put together a band and like take on like 7 iterations of Prince.
Oh my goodness, he can't. He would just lose. Yeah, but I have to read that.
It takes like these very specific and powerful items that they find on the planet.
Yeah, I got to read it, man. I was a big fan of Ready Player One. Yeah. Even if I don't like it, I'm still gonna read it just because I like stuff with the heavy references.
These things are.
Yeah, I love books.
There's a Prince planet. There's an entire planet dedicated to John Hughes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see that like from what it sounds like, it's not. Is it still like like a hunt for the key? Because that was the Easter egg.
No.
Yeah, because see that's what made the first one memorable because it was all based off of one person's like interest.
Essentially, the basic premise of this one is they had a piece of technology that they had never released that was actually one of the things that caused the rift between Og and Og and fucking what was his name? The dead guy.
Yeah, his partner. I forget his name.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
But it's one of the things that causes, and what it is like it's like a headpiece that like completely maps your brain and lets you go into the oasis without like goggles, without any of that, because it essentially goes like right into your brain. And one of the things that it does is it makes basically a digital copy of you. And so within this world is a digital copy of the girl, the one that he was in love with.
The birthmark chick. I forget her name.
No. The one that.
Og. The one that Og was in love with.
Yeah, the one that Og married.
Right.
But like he made a digital copy of her because his idea was like, I'll bring this digital copy in, and this digital copy will like she'll love me. And then things didn't go that way, so they had to hide her away by like splitting her up into like 3 parts and burying her within the oasis. But what was his Anorak, his avatar, which is, it turns out Anorak is actually like a digital copy of this guy's brain, but he started cutting out all the parts of like his life that made him because he was trying to make himself more appealing to this girl. And so Anorak is like him, but it's like a evil version, basically. And that's like the premise. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to read it regardless.
Yeah. I mean, look, I killed it in an afternoon.
Well, I mean, I don't read as fast as you do, bro. I take my time, man. I don't fucking kill those things.
Well,
in an afternoon, you read a whole fucking thing.
It's not a comic book. It's not like there's images on the pages that you're like looking at the images and looking at the artwork. It's a freaking book.
I'm a weird guy when I'm consuming like reading like media. I always every time I finish a chapter or like a comic book or whatever, I stop and I just try to regurgitate everything that I fucking read and try to like picture it. You know,
I don't.
mean? That's why it takes me forever because I'll read the whole thing.
I just keep on going, and at the end, if it's like a really good story and I really like the story, I'll read it again at another point.
Yeah, you see, that's why it takes me so long because I'll read the whole thing and then I'll try to picture it as like it happening in my head, like a movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I get so like upset whenever I'm watching one of these movies because it's not playing out the way my brain made it. My brain made it way better than what I'm watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
that's why I'm thankful for certain things. Like I'm glad I didn't get into Harry Potter until after the movies that started coming out. Because then by then it was like, okay, so now when I picture these characters in my head,
it's going to be what
these
someone
are the
else
characters I'm picturing.
Yeah, but see, that's a bad thing. To me, that's a bad thing because now you're imagining someone else's creation.
Well, it's bad for certain things. Like it's it's obviously for something like Harry Potter that look. I know there's a lot of people our age that are into Harry Potter and they love to play themselves as I was into it from the moment it came out. Like, no, look, when the Harry Potter books started coming out, I was in my 20s. I think I was in my 20s. These were books for kids. I was not a grown man reading young adult novels. I got into it because like I'd seen the first couple of movies just because I was like, oh, I want to see like what is all this hype about like with this Harry Potter series. Like, and the first 2 movies, I'll be honest, I saw the first 2 movies and I was like, okay, this is like typical kid movie stuff. The 3rd movie, when all of a sudden they got darker and they introduced Sirius Black and all of this, I was like, oh, hello, what's going on here? And that kind of caught my attention, and I think at that point, they had just released like book 5 or something like that. I was like, well, I'm interested in seeing where this story's going. And that's when I picked up the books and I started reading. And I was that guy who was like 30 years old in line to get, his issue 6 and his issue 7. Like, so it's like, it's definitely, I got into it already. And because of the movies already existing, it made that transition a little bit easier. Just when I imagine the characters, that's what I imagine were.
Yeah, but I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite with that kind of shit. Like right now, I'm reading The Boys. and I've told you already, but when I was reading The Boys, I was like having an internal struggle because Huey is completely different in the books than he is in the show.
Yeah.
And I want to imagine Huey from the show in the book, and I can't because he's completely
But
the opposite.
comics is different because comics is a
You have an
visual
image.
medium.
Right. But like the internal struggle I'm having is I want to like the show's Huey more because the one we get in the comic is some bald. He looks like a dweeb.
He looks like Simon Pegg.
Yeah, he looks like a little. He looks like a little dweeb. But the one on the show, he just looks like a young guy. He just looks like a young adult that's traumatized.
Yeah.
But now, after I've already gotten through one of the books, and now I'm like, I'm all on board on the fucking comic books. I think the comic books, did it not to shit on the show. I still think the show is great, but the show is literally like baby brain,
dumbed down version.
It's super baby brain. It's a you fucking fucked my girlfriend. I want to kill you. Revenge story, baby brain. The comic book, oh my god, there's so much. There's different factions. Each one of these characters have their own fucking motives. They're like the police of these guys. It's a completely different idea than what we got in the show. You know what I mean? That's why you can't beat the comics. There's never going to be a comic adaptation except for Invincible. Not a single comic adaptation that's ever going to be as good as the comic. It's not.
Well,
it's not possible.
In the comics, they're actually like government sanctioned.
You're right. They're just like on the hush hush.
Yeah. Like the show makes it seem like it's a little side project that this lady at the CIA has going on, but in the books, it's like no. The CIA knows of their existence.
Yep.
They don't talk about them.
And the purpose for their existence is brilliant. You know what I mean? It's like, what happens when one of these kids start getting their powers and they don't get any formal training like a police officer does. So they don't know how to control their shit and they're killing random people. Who puts them in line? These guys. These guys put them in line.
And also the fact that like all these superheroes are corporate puppets.
Yep.
You know, and corporations they don't fucking
care.
Follow the laws. They do.
They don't give a shit.
Want.
Exactly, dude. It's so the. Of course, it's fucking good, man.
I'm waiting for them to. They haven't introduced yet. But I figure at some point we're gonna get Vic the Veep.
Oh, I just got to that section. I don't know exactly what he does, but I just got there.
Vic the Veep is the vice president of the United States. He's running, and he's basically bought and paid for by Vought American.
Oh, yeah.
And he just the whole interest of Vought is to get Vic into the Oval Office as the president, because if he's the president, then basically Vought American is in charge and does whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how they do that because right now we just met in the comic, we just met the little Russian chick. What's that lady's name? So I just met her. I just got to the point where she's at they find out that she's like holding, it looks like a convention. They didn't really explain yet because I stopped right there. She's just like at a convention center with a bunch of like soups. And they're just like, oh, fuck. We weren't waiting for this. But I'm assuming she's going to be a big deal. By the way, is that guy, that big Russian dude, Vaughn? Is that the cock guy from the season 2?
Yeah, Love Muscle or something like that.
Love something. Is that the same character?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were talking. They don't show it.
Or something
Love
like
sausage. That's the one. Yeah, they don't tell you straight up, but they're like,
no, they didn't draw it.
Yeah, they didn't draw it, but they mention it. It's like, dude, that thing's a monster. Like they don't tell you that's what they're talking about, but they imply it very obviously, And then in the show, which was an awesome scene where he like choked somebody with his stick. It was so crazy. No, that show, even though the comics is way better, it's such a good time. That's a good.
Well, one of the things I like about the comics is they all take Compound V.
Yeah,
that's how they can get onto like that. Like they don't take like the full dosages the way the soups have.
Yeah, they take a small dose that like lasts for like 3 days or some shit like that. Yeah, it's very short.
But it's a lot better of an explanation as to how they can take on these soups when they themselves are powered up.
Yep. No, it's brilliant. Obviously it's brilliant. It's Garth Ennis writing this shit. You You can't expect any less from that guy. But it's like that first fight that Huey gets in, and he accidentally kills someone, and they're all like, "Fuck, Huey! No, you're not supposed to kill him. You're supposed to rough him up a little bit." He's like, "Oh, we'll clean this up. Don't worry." And he goes up to the police. He's like, "All right, see." He pulls out his badge and he starts explaining the thing. They kind of like just cover it up, but they're telling Huey, he's just like, "Bro, we can't kill him, or we're just supposed to like rough him up, scare him a little bit." It's so, I don't know, it's brilliant.
It is. It's a brilliant series. And it is something that, and then you're gonna start seeing like every you're reading it in trades.
Yeah, I'm on the first trade. I'm on the last section of the first.
Yeah,
trade.
so like I think like every arc they go up against like a different superhero team that's like a parody of like a superhero team.
See, that's what I'm the trades I have, they're the omnibus. So right now I think I'm getting the first saga, because we did the Teen Titans, we did the Batman and Robin, the Batman that fucks everything. Remember that Batman character?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in the Russian thing, and before that there was like a mob. I forget exactly what the detail was. It was some guy. Oh no, it was still the Batman one. It was the gay guy who got killed by somebody, and they couldn't figure out who it was, and they found out it was Batman. And he said the last panel, or the last few pages of that book with the Batman character. Batman is that rocket guy. He has like a jet on his back, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he has no superpower. And the way
they essentially allude to the fact that like he's also a bit of a pedophile, and every single one of his sidekicks,
that's what they assumed. And then they found out that he's not a pedophile. He just has like this problem where he just wants to fuck everything. Like, it's not kids necessarily. He just, anything he sees, he wants to fuck, which makes a comeback at the end, because he gets exiled by all the teams. Nobody wants him around. He needs to do therapy, all this fucking shit. And then the last panel, the epilogue of that little section, there's like a comet coming to Earth, and fucking for no reason there's like a vagina on it, and the only way to fucking destroy it is by fucking it. And he's just like, "Leave it to me, boys," and he just flies into space and just fucks it, and the meteor explodes and kills him. And then like you see like NASA there, he's like, "You did good, kid. You did good," and they're like crying. It's just so crazy, dude. It's awesome though. It's awesome. It's so fucking, it's like bonkers, but it's so good. I love it. Yeah. Man, that comic book is so good. I'm glad I bought all the trades.
You're gonna get into like parody versions of like the X-Men, and you're gonna get into parody versions of like the.
Oh, I thought I already got there. There's more. Yeah, because right now we've seen a bunch of them. There's
the parody version of the X-Men are the G-Men.
Okay, no, we haven't gotten to there. We got to the Teen Titans one, where it's just like one chick and a bunch of dudes, and they go to like whorehouses and just fuck everybody.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what they showed. Apparently, dude, that's like a very dirty comic. I didn't know there was so much sex in this comic. It's like insane. It's just everything is some sexual something. It's crazy.
Is it? It's what, I forget what publisher is it? Is it Vertigo?
Fuck. Actually, hold on. Let me look.
Or is it Dark Horse?
Nah, hold on. It's Dynamite.
Okay, yeah. Dynamite is not afraid to.
Yeah, that's where Vampirella comes from for sure. They don't give a fuck.
Anyways, we've gotten into just like a standard like conversation between you and me for like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If you've stuck with us this long, thank you guys. Let us know if you want more of this type of content. Otherwise, I will say goodnight, and we will see you next week. We may or may not be joined by a guest, and we will definitely be talking Loki episode 1 more in depth, because a week will have gone by, and hopefully all of you guys will have had a chance to watch it. Until then, see you later, Sith heads.